Like now, it's looking more like it's going to be closer to like 100 if we do it. Because they're saying like July, it might not even start till July.
I was thinking that too. I was thinking 100, and I was thinking like, do they just pick it up where the schedule picks up? Like if they start just say June 15th, whatever, some random day.
Yeah.
Do they just pick it up from there, or do they like rework the schedule beforehand? You know what I mean? I know the travel stuff like that. Like if it's set already, it's easier just to stick with what the schedule says, you know. But it's just kind of weird because then you get, you know, because right now you have an unbalanced schedule because you play each team in your division 19 times, blah, 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 blah.
Welcome back to another episode of Too Much Pod Tar. And I have Daniel Corian on and Johnny Black. Talk. Yeah, what's going on, dude?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
Can't move. Can't go outside.
No. Yeah. So, talk some baseball, some random shit.
Yeah, I was going to talk a little. Like, I wanted to touch on. I know I suggested it before, like back. I think it was before both of you were born, so it might be kind of tough. But the '94 season, like '94, '95, when the strike happened, because that's the last.
You can tell us about it.
It's the last like major stoppage. I mean,
the only thing I really know about it was like that was supposed to be like Montreal's year.
Oh yeah, Montreal was sick. They were sick that year. I think they were like 74-40 at the time. Yeah, they were dominating. They were dominating that year. I think it was Pedro was coming into his own. They had Galarraga, Larry Walker. You know, they had Marquise Grissom in center field.
Jesus.
I think they had Delino DeShields, like the father. Delino DeShields.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would.
You know, They had a really good team. I'm trying to think of who else they had. I think they had Dennis Martinez also on the starter. I'm trying to think off the top of my head who else they had.
God damn.
Yeah, they had a sweet team, man.
What did they do in '95? How did they finish? I mean, like obviously they didn't go to the World Series or anything, but
I'm actually going to look them up right now because I want to look at who else they had. I can't remember exactly. They had a really good team. Let's see. 94 Expos. I mean, just the fact that like that year, I mean, when the stoppage came, you know, most of the teams played like 112 games. A couple that had 113, 114 in. But Tony Gwynn was hitting 394.
Jesus Christ.
You know, Matt Williams from the Giants had 43 home runs in 112 games. He was on for 62.
Damn.
You know, yeah, it was some. I mean, we could have seen. There was a possibility between Gwynn and Williams that we would have seen Maris's record broken, home run record, and also a 400 hitter in the same year. That would have been insane. Like, you know, you consider Maris's record from 61, and no one hit 400 since Ted Williams in the 40s. So that would have been nuts, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see who else they had. Let's see. Oh, yeah, the outfield, 94 Expos. Moises Alou, Marquise Grissom, Larry Walker.
God damn.
Cliff Floyd playing first base. Mike Lansing, Will Cordero. Rondell White. Seeing it pitching. Pedro Martinez. They didn't have Dennis Martinez then. Ken Hill, who's actually pretty good. Jeff Facero. Kirk Reuter. John Wetland was their closer.
Damn. That stinks that they didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, 74-40 was their record.
Sounds like a really fun team. I miss the Expos. I know I didn't really watch much of them, but I just love their uniforms.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I hope, like, the hope is if they do any kind of expansion in baseball, a team's got to go to Montreal. They have to put a team.
Well, I mean, they were going to have the Rays split in Tampa Bay and Montreal, or that fell through or whatever. But
yeah, that's a little silly.
Yeah, that's,
Like
that was also ridiculous.
I think the only reason they're actually like gonna do that is just to test it out, like test how it is to be for a team to be in Montreal. Like I don't think they're not gonna actually do a team for like one season, somewhere else, and then one season there. Like,
don't the Blue Jays usually like do some sort of like exhibition games there, and they're always like packed? Because there's a fan base there.
Yeah, there is definitely.
I mean, that might have been because of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. because the hype around him and his dad playing for the Expos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think the Expos, they had Randy Johnson too in the early 90s. I mean, if they never got rid of people, they could have had Randy Johnson and Pedro Martinez as their top two starters. Like, how crazy is that?
Damn.
Yeah, jeez.
I mean, think about it. Like, you saw what Pedro became and what Randy became, like in 95, 97, like those years. Could you imagine if the Expos would have, like, actually kept both of them? Just having those two in rotation. I mean, dude, it's 40 wins a year.
You wouldn't have a prayer. You wouldn't have a prayer in a playoff series.
Yeah. No way.
No.
In a playoff series? Hell no.
You're immediately down 2-0. Not a prayer.
Yeah, that would have been, And then if you consider, too, they would have hung on to some of their hitters. Let's say Colorado stuck at first base and Larry Walker in the outfield. But they just were losing money. They couldn't afford anybody anymore, and they had to just. Oh well, Randy Johnson when he pitched there, and I think he pitched in the majors with them in like the 89, 90, 91, like around that time.
Yeah,
and he wasn't good. He was all over the place. He walked everybody. He was bad at that point. But you just think of what could have been.
Yeah, I mean that would have been awesome.
I mean, could you imagine a playoff series in the 90s having like Pedro and Randy Johnson against like Maddox, Smoltz, and Glavine? Like National League playoffs, like what would that be?
Lowest scoring series ever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 94, man, that was rough, man. Because I mean, I was so rooting for Tony Gwynn at 400. I mean, it would have been so incredible.
Yeah.
Like I said, even Matt Williams with the 43 home runs, he had a shot. He was on pace. Who knows what would have happened? But I mean, just to be on pace at that point. And the funny thing is, like, he never hit 40 home runs in his career, other than that year.
Really?
It was just like one of those years that
You talk about a fall off. I'm looking up the 95 Expos. They won 66 games.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Well, that's when Walker left, too. After 95.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah, they just weren't the same team. He left. Wetland left, too. Because Wetland was the closer for the 95 Yankees.
Damn.
Wetland was gone.
So aggravating.
Yeah, that was their year, man. They had a shot that year. They really did. And that just broke them. Because I think they could have sustained, especially if they were the playoffs in the World Series that year, they could have sustained, made some money, and actually sustained some of these guys. Maybe signed one of them, like a Larry Walker, kept them there or something like that, But after the whole thing was canceled in August.
Why did it get canceled? I don't even know the full story behind that.
was a strike.
Okay.
Like the players went on strike. And that was it. They just canceled the rest of the season. Yeah. And then it carried over to 95. Mm-hmm. 95, they started baseball in April. And they played 140. I want to say they played like 148, 150 games in 95.
I think it was like 144.
Something like that. They missed like the first 2 weeks of the season in 95.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot less this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, now it's looking more like it's going to be closer to like 100 if we do it. Because they're saying like July, it might not even start till July.
I was thinking that too. I was thinking 100. And I was thinking like, do they just pick it up where the schedule picks up? Like if they start, say June 15th, whatever. It's a random day.
Yeah.
Do they just pick it up from there? Or do they like rework the schedule beforehand? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I know the travel stuff like that. Like if it's set already, it's easier just to stick with what the schedule says, you know. But it's just kind of weird because then you get, you know, because right now you have an unbalanced schedule because you play each team in your division 19 times, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Whereas now what's going to happen as far as you might not play a team, because if you played a team 2-3 game series, like outside of your division, if you played them twice in the first couple months of the season, you might not play them at all that year.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know which is better. You just keep the schedule the way it is and pick it up where it starts, or you rework it and try to do it, say, like I was thinking about this the other day, like if you had 100 games, if you play each one of the teams in your division 10 times, that's 40 games. Then the other 10 teams in your league, say the American League, you play the other 10 teams 3 times, that's another 30 games. And then you play interleague play 30 times. That's 100 games. It's still an unbalanced schedule because you're still playing the teams in your own division more than you're playing the rest of the league.
Yeah.
If they could rework it, something like that, and make it a 100-game season and do that, 40 games within the division, 70 total within the American League or National League, respectively, and then 30. Obviously, you have to have interleague games because there's 15 teams in each league. So there has to be an interleague series that's going on at some point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they could do something like that. Or what they're talking about is just depending on how early they can start, saying just do the 162-game schedule and play at like neutral sites, November, December.
I also saw somewhere like if it's like, God willing, if the season starts like on time and what they're thinking right now, what they have right now, which is like late May, that they could just start from where they pick up and have the games that were missed, they just throw them to the back of the schedule.
Well, could do that too. Yeah. I mean, I'm really hoping they stop on Memorial Day. I mean, I know we've heard so many different things. I mean, as you know, and no one knows.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no way to predict this at all. So
no. I think I'm more pessimistic. Like it's not. I feel like it's like not going to start till July or something like that. And then I think at that point they just have to they would just have to pick it up where the schedule would be, and then like have like 100 games. And the whole thing with like games that they would be missing. It would be kind of tough because then like there could be teams that are like have easier schedules too. So it might be like you get to the point where like somebody like I don't know, somebody makes the playoffs over somebody else who would have made it or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of tough to you would have to rework it in some way. Like I don't know. I don't really know what they would do, but
it's the chance. Tigers Pirates World Series. This is it, man.
Yeah, it's no shot.
This is how they do it.
Yeah, some stupid team's gonna come out this year if it's like some short season.
Marlins.
Blue Jays are just gonna go on a tear.
Yeah, I could see.
I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all.
You never know, really.
Yeah.
I mean, how many teams have we seen over the course of a whole season just start off the season horribly, and then they wind up like from Memorial Day on? Look at the Nationals last year, 19-31 first 50 games.
Yeah,
to take away those 50 games, I mean, look at how they played. You know what I mean? But you can go the opposite too. It's that you look at that started off strong and finished poorly, still made it because they had a strong start.
Yeah.
You know, this is what happened to in 1981 when there was the strike. What they decided to do was split the season up into 2 halves, and it screwed the Reds, the Cincinnati Reds, because they finished with the best record overall in the National League, but they finished second in the National League in the first half and second in the second half. So they didn't make the playoffs. So it screwed the Reds that year. That's right.
Damn.
So someone's going to get screwed. One way or the other.
Someone's going to get screwed.
It's going to happen.
Yeah. It's going to be one of those teams that like are like right there, like they just miss it or something. Like I'm trying to think of a team that's I guess any National League team that's as we talked about before, like pretty much every National League team is going to be in the mix. So it's going to be somebody like that, like the Cubs or the whatever Brewers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I just started working on a Brewers preview. Meant to finish that up yesterday, but I'll get to it later tonight or tomorrow morning. But Brewers don't look that horrible. I still don't trust their pitching staff, but whatever. Their pitching staff's garbage. But then again, the National League Central is kind of wide open.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, the Cardinals lost Ozuna. We'll see if Flaherty and Dakota Hudson can do what they did last year. Cubs are, meh. I don't know. Yeah. There's no one really, and the Reds really picked it up this offseason.
Yeah.
And honestly, they probably have the best top 3 in the division as far as the rotation goes, with Castillo, Bauer, and Gray.
Mm-hmm.
And getting Moustakas and Castellanos.
Yeah.
If Votto can do something this year, and Suarez 40 home runs, and they get something from Nick Senzel, they could have a solid lineup too. And Iglesias, Garrett, they got a decent squad. The Reds.
They do. They have a really fun team.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wouldn't shock me if they won a division. Honestly.
No, I wouldn't be shocked either. I mean, I think I have them when I did the preview, I only had them missing or coming in second by like a couple games. But on the other side, I could also see them flopping just because they're kind of young.
Yeah. Yeah, I still, if I had to pick it today, I'd still see the Cardinals winning a division again.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, you could kind of throw anyone in there.
You really could, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if Darvish has the kind of year he had, like the second half of the year last year, if he becomes like an ace there, they still got Lester for one more year. Say what you want about Lester, but he's still a solid 2A, 3. Give you innings.
Mm-hmm.
And they still have Kyle Hendricks. Craig Kimbrell, if he bounces back.
Do they have Cole Hamels?
No, Hamels
went to Atlanta.
Atlanta.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. They should be much better than they are. It's weird.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they took a serious dip after 2016.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still really good in 2017, but after that, I mean, you had that one game playoff to get to win the Central, and then they lost the wild card game to the Rockies, which I still find funny. They're in the playoffs like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They just fell right off.
Yeah, it's also funny to think like the Orioles were in the playoffs like 4 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really amazing. How teams
I know,
just
it's so funny. The turnover in baseball is so funny.
Yeah. It's the one sport that has that much turnover. Like
Yeah.
every other sport, like pretty much the teams that are good for like years and years. Yeah, the one thing, like, if this does last a while, like, it's gonna, like, they're gonna have to probably get rid of the All-Star break too, like the All-Star game, which is suck because I love the All-Star game and the home run derby.
Yeah.
Oh, if they would have done that last year while I was in Cleveland, I would have had a fucking fit.
Oh yeah.
That was so cool to see.
Yeah. That final.
So I implore anybody. I implore anybody who has a chance to go to the home run derby to go because it is sweet. No, it also may be because of the Vladdy Guerrero versus Jock Peterson thing that happened last year, but that was awesome.
Yeah, I definitely want to go sometime.
Yeah, me too. I've been to a home run derby.
Maybe
Which comes to the East Coast.
What's the one next year? Where is it?
Look it up.
It's probably West Coast somewhere, I think.
Yeah,
I
think it's the Dodgers.
Well, it was Dodgers this year, and then I think next year.
Okay.
I forget where though. I think they have them like set for like the next 5 years or something.
Yeah, it should be on America because I think they alternate National League and American League.
Look it up.
This year, I think it'll be in American League Park this year.
Actually, 2021 is in Atlanta.
See, 2022.
2020 is in.
I have a list of 2020 to 2026. I just found.
What's this? 2020, just in case it happens.
2020 is LA.
Yeah, I feel.
But it's the Angels.
Probably would push that though if they wouldn't they like if they ends up canceling this year, wouldn't they just push it to next year to be in LA?
Probably just everyone just get pushed back.
Yeah, so then they don't have anything planned until like for the next 5 years. I mean, the next 4 years after that, but then they do have. It's actually coming to Citizens Bank in 2026.
Oh wow,
that'll be when I'll try to go.
Philly, yeah, I could probably make it.
That'll be a fun one.
Yeah,
I'll be 27. Well, actually 26, a month away from 27.
Yep.
You know, I'm wondering about all this thing too. Like, depending on when the season starts and everything, I wonder how this affects like playing time, the service time.
Yeah.
Tracks, like
that's good. Yeah.
That's definitely a big thing because, like, especially like Mookie Betts with the Dodgers. Like, does he get another half year or get another year with the Dodgers next year? Or
I couldn't see that.
Like, it's weird.
Cubs are gonna screw Chris Bryant again.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a Cub forever.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
he's gonna be absolutely miserable.
He's just gonna be in arbitration for the next 5 years.
Oh my God! I just retired. That's like such a pain in the ass process.
But it's so stupid. It really is.
Dumbest thing.
That whole like 2 weeks of service time. I don't get it. I really.
Yeah.
Because by doing that, you just open the door for this bullshit. Yeah, like the Cubs pulled with Bryant, and stuff like that. It's just silly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get that and a lot of teams recently have been locking up their players early, so they don't have to worry about that, or even bringing guys up on opening day. Like the Mets did with Alonso last year. The Padres did with Tatis. They kind of like, screw the extra year. Let's just do it,
So I'll never get why the Indians brought up Lindor in 2015, like in August. I'll never get why they did that.
It's just to avoid. Well, because you have the service time issue with the first couple of weeks, but then you have the Super 2.
Yeah.
Which changes the extra year of arbitration. You don't get an extra year of control. But
okay, got you.
You could pay a rookie. You can pay him rookie salary for 3 years instead of 2.
Okay.
So there'd be that extra year earlier of arbitration for Lindor. We brought him up, and Super 2 deadline changes every year, but it's generally around when the draft is, like in June.
Yeah,
it's generally around time. It's like an average of players who were drafted. I forget exactly the formula to it, but it does vary a little bit each year. So I guess playing it safe and brought them up late, but
the sport's so stupid. All these, the sport is so weird.
Yeah, it's funny because I understand like how baseball works, but then like when I try to follow, like basketball and even NFL, like dead cap money and like stuff, I was
it's the dumbest shit.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Like the whole thing with NBA, like the vet minimum, like I get like a vet minimum and stuff like that. But 1-1.
Yeah.
And then you have in football, like you have like a futures contract. Like what the hell? Like what is all that stuff? Like I don't get it.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's all just a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah. I guess it's just ways for teams to manipulate the salary cap. But I mean, as far as the baseball goes, there is no cap.
Right.
So you just give an owners an out. You give an owners a loophole to get around paying the luxury tax is basically what you're doing.
Yeah.
With all this service time shit.
Yeah, this whole stoppage is gonna like screw a lot of shit up, like with all sports. Just like things that are just backed up from it.
Yeah, like how does
literally the first time in history that this has ever happened, where every sport is stopped.
Yeah, I know, this is crazy to just think about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering what the NHL and NBA do.
Yeah.
I feel like they should just pick up go right into the playoffs as soon as it comes back.
I agree. I mean, but the NBA, I feel like it's going to be weird because there's like no off season in the NBA almost, because you go right from the NBA draft and like that right when that ends, like a week later is the NBA finals, and then a week later is the NBA draft, and then free agency is like 2 weeks later, and then like summer league is a week later, and then summer league leads into the regular season, so it's like that season just never ends. So that one's gonna be interesting how they handle that one.
Yeah.
Well, hockey too. Hockey has such a short off season.
That's true as well.
They're kind of concurrent, but they actually start their season a month earlier than the NBA does.
Yeah.
So I mean, in hockey, like they end in basically June. They have the draft, and then they start training camp in September. like 2 months off.
Yeah.
So pushing it back, like, that's the thing. Like, if you push everything back, it's going to affect the following season. Like, even with baseball, we're talking about if you push things back, like to November, December. How does that affect them when pitchers and catchers report in February?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what.
The World Series, and 6 weeks later, like, hell, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. I don't know.
That's why I don't think they can. I mean, I know people. It's been mentioned like having a neutral site, warm weather site, or whatever. But I don't even know if you could do that really.
No.
I mean, I know you're only talking about 2-4 teams that are playing that late in the season because obviously most of the teams don't make the playoffs. But even so, I mean, they pushed it back 1 week when 9/11 happened in 2001. They pushed the season back a week, hence Mr. November, Eric Jeter. You know what I mean? But that's the latest it's ever gone.
Yeah, you can handle a week.
Yeah, even 2. But I mean, if you're playing baseball on Thanksgiving, that's a little insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take it though. Freaking baseball and football on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it, but it's gonna be harder to do because of weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had cold games before, like when even the start of the season, they've had really cold games. So, I mean, I feel like they can do it if it's not that late into it. Like if it's like the first, like you said, it's only the first couple of weeks of November or something. But any later than that, I don't think they can really do that.
No, because like I said too, then you're pushing it. I mean, then you're pushing into the off season. And then you're affecting pitchers and catchers reporting in February. I mean, do they let them report later? Do they start next season a little bit later and try to make it up like over the next year or two? Kind of get back where it should be, like starting the season at the end of March. Maybe next year they start the season later and pitchers and catchers report at the end of February. If they're going to push this season into the second week of November, third week of November, then maybe they push the exhibition season and cut it down a little bit and start the season maybe first week of April instead of in March and kind of make up that week, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a whole, it's a domino.
There's a whole lot of problems.
I kind of feel like if they do just end up having a shorter season, it's kind of just like, it's kind of a test to see how it goes. Because then maybe they end up having a shorter season in the future, like 140 games or something.
That's what I said. I said this is the perfect chance for MLB to experiment with getting a shorter season.
Yeah.
I think they should.
I agree, but I mean, this is the perfect chance for them to do it. I mean, they're kind of forced to do it at this point, but this is the perfect chance because 162 games is that's a super long time.
Yeah. I think
baseball, I mean, baseball, I know, like, their off season, it really doesn't even last that long.
No.
Because World Series usually ends late October, early November, and then winter meetings start like a month or two, or whatever it ends, and then pitchers and catchers report right after that. So I mean,
yeah, it's less and less of an off season.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah,
it's gonna be if this lasts like as long as some people are saying, like till June or something. It's gonna be the worst, like spring and summer, beginning of summer.
It's gonna be the worst. Yeah,
can't go to any baseball games. Can't go outside and swim. Can't do shit.
Yeah. Literally, I'm just gonna be playing PlayStation. I mean.
Yeah. Playing PlayStation, writing articles, doing podcasts, listening.
Of course, doing my schoolwork too. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, everything's just been. This is just crazy. I've never seen anything like this. I really haven't.
Yeah.
No. It's crazy. Like in Italy, the death toll is rising every day. There's like
oh my god,
800.
It's bad there.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, 800, like almost 800 new cases today.
Yeah.
New death.
Damn.
Yeah, it's like 793 new deaths today.
Mm-hmm.
This is craziness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was actually just watching. I just watched I Am Legend earlier. Like that.
Oh yeah,
I was thinking of watching that yesterday.
It's like so eerie because it's like so close to what's going on right now. Except I literally forgot how it started. How it started because someone was trying to find a cure for cancer, and they used like the vaccine they used or whatever was like, so that ended up turning into the virus. And then I didn't realize that was how it started.
That's one good thing about this. I get to watch all these movies.
Right. I've been watching a lot of movies.
Yeah.
A lot of
I'm usually a big movie guy, but I've been like slacking lately.
Yeah, I've been watching the show Containment.
Containment.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
I'm living containment.
Virus. What was that?
I'm living in containment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a show on Netflix for containment, and it's like they contain these people in this cordon, and then there's like gangs that form and stuff like that, and the police who are in there, and they're trying to protect the doctors and everything. It's kind of
Yeah.
So I've been watching a little bit of that. I don't watch a lot of TV really, but some of the stuff. The wife and I watched Outbreak last weekend.
Jesus.
These movies on now, of course, like but you catch up on some stuff.
Yeah.
I've been putting on a lot of the baseball classic games that they had on, like MLB Network and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what the one good thing is. Like they, MLB Network, like they're showing a bunch of these older games and like
documentaries and stuff like that.
Yeah, and they're pretty interesting.
Yeah. Watching the one. What's Johnny? Do you know? I can't remember what his name is, but he pitched for the Tigers. They did some documentary on him, and for
Mark
MLB.
Fidrich?
What?
Mark Fidrich?
Yeah, Fidrich.
The bird? Yeah.
You remember him? That is like the weirdest story ever.
He was kind of
crazy.
I don't remember watching him when I was young. I mean, he came up when I was like 3. So I mean,
okay.
Particularly, I remember seeing like a lot about him, like afterwards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He had like a dominant. I think 1976
rookie year. Yeah, he had like a dominant rookie year, and then he just kind of okay.
Yeah.
He was kind of a meh pitcher after that.
Yeah, he was a weird dude too, from what I remember. He has some mental issues, and they called him the bird because he like put his head out.
He looked like a bird.
Yeah, like he had some weird mannerisms on the mound and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He also died in like a weird way.
Yeah, I forget how he died.
I think he was like something like he was working on a car and he got like trapped under there and like suffocated.
Oh,
it was like some weird way like that.
Yeah.
Jesus. It's like that show that I used to watch, the 1,000 Ways to Die. 1,000 Ways to.
I remember that.
Know that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a weird show.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
I remember watching it, like the first time I watched it was like when I was 13 or something. I got like traumatized.
Yeah. I thought they were real when I first started watching them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fidrich was a weird dude. And then you had like guys like Steve Blass. Like if you ever looked him up, like he pitched for the Pirates. And 1 year, like he was a pretty good pitcher too. Like I think it was the late '60s, early '70s.
Yeah.
And then he just showed up one spring training and couldn't throw the ball over the plate anymore. He had like Rick Ankiel syndrome. Like, this type of thing. Like, the dude won like 20 games for like the 1970 Pirates when they won the World Series and stuff, or 71 when they won the World Series. And then like the following year, like he couldn't throw the ball over the plate. It was it. Like, it was like a mental thing. Like, just couldn't do it. Yes, glass. He was like the original Rick Ankiel. Like, that was it. The mental block. And then you had the guy, the catcher from the Mets, Mackey Sasser.
Yeah.
Who couldn't throw the ball back to the pitcher.
Yeah.
It was like this mental block. Like, he just couldn't do it. Same thing happened to Knobloch. Chuck Knobloch. With the throwing issues, like, it was like I don't know. I mean, these guys just like have it in their head. It gets in their head and it just, I don't know. You just have these things that it's weird.
Huh.
That's why a lot of teams nowadays they employ like sports psychologists.
Yeah.
Because these guys will just go into like this funk, like they make an error or two or whatever, and it just gets in their head, and that's it. It takes away from what they've done for all these years since like T-ball.
Yeah.
And it just gets in their head, and they start concentrating on it rather than just letting the natural ability go, and that's it. I mean, I wonder if something like that happened to Chris Davis, an Orioles.
Maybe.
Just like completely.
It's like the yips.
Yeah, like Chris Davis had 53 home runs, and then 3 years later he's hitting 150. Like, I was like, what?
Yeah.
What happened?
I know we're losing our mind over a base hit, his first base hit of the season, which is in like June.
Yeah. I know people are like going crazy during his spring training because he was like,
he was like tearing it up in spring training.
Yeah. Orioles are still into him for 4 more years, like 20-something a year.
Oh my God.
That was like the worst contract. Like, how?
That team is screwed.
The horrible thing about that contract was, too, they weren't bidding against anyone else. It's not like, it's not like they had anyone else, knocking down Chris Davis' door to offer him $20 million a year.
No.
Mm-hmm. It's insane. I don't understand. Like, what were they thinking? I don't know.
That's Peter Angelos for you. He's a moron. Dude doesn't know how to run a team. So this is what happens with some of these owners. They run these organizations. They like to run them themselves. And they like to step in when they want to make this one move, this, and this. And it's like, just let baseball people do their baseball thing. Just sign a check, dude.
Seriously. But the Mets, whatever, I can't remember their names.
Will Ponds? Oh, man.
Yeah, the Will Ponds.
Oh, my God.
Up that Steve Cohen deal.
Yep. Because they still want to control.
Yeah, they wanted like 5 years of control. It's like Steve Cohen's like 68. He's not alive in 5 years.
Well, not only that, it's like, I'm buying a team. What do you mean you want to still want to have control?
That's what I said. I'm like, if I pay for something, it's mine now. What do you mean you want it?
Yeah. And it's not like they've been great owners anyway. So
no, they've been pathetic.
Yeah. Even as businessmen. I mean, they got caught up in the whole Bernie Madoff thing.
Oh, my God.
That whole scheme, and it's screwed them over.
Oh,
yeah, the Mets. Yeah. I mean, the Mets always have, like, and it's so funny because we were saying, like, talking about the Orioles and the Rockies. Well, the Mets were in the World Series 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have the ability.
They do. I mean, they got a good young team.
They just can't win games.
No,
they've been kind of snake bitten that way. They've been kind of unlucky. plus the injuries and stuff. I mean, but they've been a little unlucky too.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Jacob DeGrom.
Oh,
this dude's won what, 21 games the past 2 years, back-to-back Cy Youngs. I can't buy him, dude.
Don't give any run support.
That poor dude.
How many?
He has like none.
Oh yeah, he just had no run support at all.
None at all.
I mean, he's arguably the best pitcher in the majors. I mean, even if you said Cole or Verlander or Scherzer, I mean, you have to put him top 5, easy.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, and that guy won't win games. It's like they just can't put together wins.
No, yeah, they have horrible luck.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, with the Mets were what, 86 and 76 last year? I mean, you were 10 games over 500. I mean,
they weren't bad. But I mean, they had a horrible start to the year, and they got really hot at the end.
Yeah. I mean, they had the pieces in place. I mean, a big part of them is their outfield.
Yeah.
If they can get any production from like regular production out of Conforto and Nimmo and Cespedes. I mean, Cespedes was gone pretty much all year. He was gone the year last year. Yeah. If they can get anything from him at all this year, and then some sort of consistency from Nimmo or Conforto to go along with Neal and Alonso. Now, I know Alonso is probably going to regress a little bit. I'm not expecting 50 home runs again, but
yeah,
Ramos can still hit. Syndergaard can never, put his talent to actually a 30 start season. Between him and DeGrom, they've Stroman all year.
Sure, they do have Stroman.
And Matz is a solid 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they have a good team. You just lose games. I don't know. You just don't win. It's weird.
They're just so unlucky.
Yeah. I mean, Edwin Diaz had a horrible year last year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know what Robbie Cano did last year. I'm assuming he was hurt.
And he stunk.
Yeah, he stunk and he was probably hurt.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm gonna look up his stats right now.
I mean, you got to remember they got Jed Lowry too, who's supposed to come back.
Right. Yeah.
If they can get, like I said, if Edwin Diaz bounces back, which I think he will, because he got really unlucky last year. Don't forget they signed Dellin Betances too.
Who?
Betances.
Oh, that's right. Who else did they sign? They signed somebody else. A pitcher. I can't remember his name.
I don't know.
Who's that?
They signed some pitcher. I can't remember his name.
Relief pitcher?
I think he's a relief pitcher. Like it's a notable name.
Porcello, and they signed Walker.
That's who I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Porcello.
Yeah. And they signed Michael Walker.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Forgot about that.
And they have Seth Lugo, a real good year last year. I mean, he could be a really good team.
They could.
Jeff McNeil is proven he's a solid player. J.D. Davis had a real good year last year.
Oh, Rick Purcell or who else they signed too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
If anything else, Porcello is a great number 5 because he's an innings eater.
Yeah.
Now he's going. Don't forget too. Now he's going to the National League. Yeah. He's been in the American League his whole with Detroit and Boston. Yeah. So Porcello is going to be one of those guys that's like, wow, he won a Cy Young Award.
I was just thinking that, like, what?
You're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I always forget who won the Cy Young that year.
Yeah.
And someone tells me, I'm like, shut the hell up.
Yeah.
All right. Who was second? I don't remember.
I think it was
Like Kluber
Verlander.
or Verlander.
Yeah.
I always get, whenever I hear first seller's name, I get so pissed off. Because the one game I went to the only game I ever went to at Fenway Park was the one where it was 2018 where the Yankees got one hit shutout against them. I was like, oh my god, I chose this game to go to.
Yeah, Porcello throws innings though. And you know what? He's a Jersey boy, so I kind of root for him.
Yeah.
I know he's not that great, but he's from Hackensack, New Jersey. So I'm like, yeah, I'll root for the kid.
That's what works when you go to like a baseball game and like your team just gets absolutely shitted on.
Yeah.
Or like they don't get a single hit the entire game. It feels like one hit shutouts and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
I went to a series. I went to when the Astros came to town last year. I just randomly got tickets to the night where Garrett Cole pitched. So I went to that game. He threw like a 3-hit shutout. Yeah. And then like the next day, because that game I went to was on the trade deadline, we got Puig and he was playing the next day. So I'm like, all right, I'll go. And Verlander threw like a 8-inning, 1-run game, 3 hits. What? I was like, what the hell?
Way to pick like the two of the best pitchers in baseball.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I wanted to see Puig play. That was the only reason I paid for that game.
I remember last year I went to the Subway Series game at Yankee Stadium, and it was they ended up having a doubleheader. The first game they won, but it was the second game that I was going to, and that was the one they lost. I was like, you can't win both. God.
I love doubleheaders though. Those are so much fun.
Yeah. I wish I just went to both, but I didn't leave until I left like really late, so I didn't get there until the second game was starting.
Yeah. There was a day in 2018. It was a summer day. The Indians were playing a doubleheader, like as a makeup, where they had like a 1:00 game, like a 7:00 game against the Blue Jays. And so I went to the first game, and if you pay tickets for the first game, you just automatically could get into the second game.
Mm-hmm.
So that day, it also happened to be like game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals, where Cleveland was in Toronto, but they're having like a watch party, and that game was at like 3:30. So the first Indians game ended. Me and my friend went over to the queue for the watch party. We left the queue immediately after that game and went and watched the second game of the Indians.
Wow.
It was an awesome day.
That's sweet.
I remember I first moved up here. I moved up here in November of 2005. I moved up to Boston area. In 2006, I remember going to the game in Fenway where David Ortiz broke the Red Sox home run record. I think it was his 51st home run of the season. It was in September. And it was off Johan Santana. It was the Twins against the Red Sox.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of bittersweet because I always liked Ortiz.
But that's such a cool moment.
I've met David Ortiz before. He's like the nicest guy in the world. My ex-girlfriend, like when I moved up here, the girl I moved up here and like was with, she was a nanny for 3 kids that lived in Newton, and at the time, David Ortiz lived around the block from the kids she nannied for in Newton, Massachusetts. And the one day I went over there to pick her up, and David Ortiz was having a barbecue like in his backyard, like for all the kids in the neighborhood.
Damn,
dude, this dude was. I wish I had pictures of it because I was like at the time it was like whatever, But I was like, fucking hang out at David Ortiz's house. Fuck yeah, dude. And he's in the backyard like grilling hot dogs and burgers for like 15 kids in the neighborhood, like fucking apron on at the barbecue and shit. I was like, God, this is awesome.
That's awesome.
So it was kind of bittersweet at that point. Like, he hit it off. He hit it off the Twins, but I was like, yeah, I could root for Ortiz. I could do it.
That's such cool. I wish I've never gotten a moment like that where I could just like see. I don't think I've ever seen like a record broken.
that's the only one I could say. I've never been to a no hitter. I've never been at anything like that. One game I do remember going to when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a Mets game at Shea Stadium with my dad back when I was like, I think it was like 85. I was like 12 years old. And it was the Braves against the Mets. And I remember Terry Leach was pitching for the Mets. Mm-hmm. He was kind of like a spot starter, reliever, whatever at that point. And I just remember the day. It was like Strawberry had a great day. He had like 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. I think it was the Mets wound up winning like 15-11. It was crazy.
Damn.
And I just remember it because it's the best seats I ever had. I was like 4th row, like above the dugout on the first baseline. Like I was like right there. It was like the best seats I ever had at a baseball game.
Damn.
That was friggin' awesome.
Wow.
I think.
I haven't been to like a game, like a record breaker game, but the one close I can think of is like when I was at the game where Aaron Judge made his debut, hit his first home run, and it was back to back. Like him and Tyler Austin were both making their debuts, and back to back. I remember like getting at the stadium. I didn't even know that they were getting called up, and I was like, I looked down at my phone. I was like, I saw they were both getting called up. I was like, oh shit, I'm here for 2 rookies making their debuts, and then home runs. I was like, that's so awesome to be at, to see those back-to-back home runs. Like, that's definitely the best game I've been to. That like in that sense, like obviously, I was at the Yankees and Twins game when the Didi hit that grand slam. So that's probably the first, but
playoff game.
Yeah. Oh, especially since Johnny's here too, it's the best game.
Yeah. Twins would have won multiple World Series if we didn't have to face the Yankees in the fucking playoffs every time. I swear, it's the last 8 times the Twins have made the playoffs. I think we've faced the Yankees like 6 of those times. Like we always facing. What the hell is that?
It was last year. It was 2017. And what did they? I forget. They definitely did 2009, and then
2009, 2006, I think.
Yeah.
It's been quite a few times over the past 20 years that we faced you guys in playoffs. Yeah, because it was when I first moved out. Because 2006, 2007, the Twins were good. Because don't forget, they still have Morneau, Mauer. They said Santana.
Right.
Francisco Liriano, back when he was the starter, he was like up and coming pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was some good teams back then.
Yeah,
but it was just always, run
into the Yankees.
Yeah.
I remember the Twins playing a couple times. Actually, twice we played 163rd game of the season.
Yeah.
It was in one time we lost to the White Sox. Damn Jim Tomei. Well, Nick Blackburn. He had a solo home run, and the thing must have gone 550 feet. I mean, it was a fucking bomb to center field. And the White Sox won the game 1-0. That was the only run in the whole game.
I'd be so pissed.
And then another time, I think it was 2000. I want to say it was like 2000. I want to say it was like 2008. It was around there that the Twins had to play the Tigers.
Oh, I remember this game. I know what you're talking about.
We beat them in extra innings. Alexi Casilla, a second baseman, base hit, and beat the Tigers. I think its final score was 6-5. We wound up beating them 12 innings. Yeah. And then, of course, we wound up playing the Yankees.
Yeah. Well,
damn it.
Man.
2002 killed me because we wound up making it to the ALCS and we lost to the Angels, who eventually wound up winning. And in that series, I think it was Game 5. Adam Kennedy hit 3 home runs in a game.
Damn.
Like, what? Who? Like,
oh my goodness.
Him and David Eckstein killed us. That's 2002 because they were talking about. I remember back then because they were talking about contracting teams, and the Twins were one of them. But the Twins wound up getting hot toward the end of the year. They Torrey Hunter, Doug Minkiewicz, Brzezinski, like those guys, and wound up making the playoffs, making it all the way to the ALCS. I think we beat the A's in the first round that year.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we won the Blues into the fucking rally monkey.
Oh, man.
At least I could say I seen my team win twice. I mean, I was old enough to watch the '87 and '91 Twins, so I've seen all my teams win, which is good. I haven't had to suck. Unfortunately, like you, Dan. The Indians.
Well, yeah. Well, I see a couple of my teams win championships.
Yeah.
Buckeyes, but yeah. I don't think I'll ever get over 2016, the World Series. I'll never get over it.
Huh.
Like, we could win the next 40 World Series. I don't think I'd ever get over that series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was so.
That
was such freaking oh man. And I didn't even have I don't have a horse in the race, but I didn't even know who to root for. To be honest with you, I wanted to see the Cubs, but you guys have had the second longest streak, and it's like I always loved Tito. Francona is one of my favorite managers of all time. I love Tito, especially when I was up here in Boston. They screwed him over up here.
They did.
Your thing, and Henry and them got rid of him. They talked a lot of shit about him up here in the media too, which I thought was bullshit.
Yeah, Boston is actually worse than New York.
Always loved Tito.
There's been a couple of rumblings around here that some people are starting to get a little bit of sick of Tito, but I think that's just more. We went to the World Series and we haven't gotten out of the ALDS since.
Yeah, well, your team doesn't also, you guys don't spend money either.
Yeah, I mean it's not his fault at all.
No.
He's won the most games he's won the most games in the American League since he's started with the Indians.
Yeah,
which is weird, hard to believe.
And that was the thing. I was saying, if you guys would have won that 2016 World Series, I mean, he'd go down as one of the greatest managers because he managed the Sox, broke their curse, and then goes to Cleveland and breaks their however many years, 50, 60 years, whatever it is,
Yeah. I mean,
and as much as the Indians are division rivals of the Twins, I like the Indians in the 90s. When the Twins stunk, I actually liked their team. I mean, Tomei and Albert Bell, Roberto Alomar, a couple of years, and, Manny, all those guys, they were a good team.
I mean, Tito was awesome throughout that whole postseason. He made it just seemed like he made the right move at every single turn except for Game 7. That was the only time it just seemed like he just made mistakes.
Yeah, it's just,
It was just also hard to believe. Corey Kluber finally ran out of gas that postseason, and so did Andrew Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, Andrew Miller was just unfucking touchable that entire postseason.
Yeah.
Oh, he was incredible.
He was the ALCS MVP. I think he struck out 15 Blue Jays. It was stupid.
Yeah.
And then fucking David Ross hits a home run off him in Game 7. Dude's a fossil. Needed to be helped get out on the field.
And now he's the Cubs manager.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Dude, when Rajai Davis hit that home run off Chapman, I was like, oh my God.
Holy shit.
I can't imagine what you guys are going through, man. Because I was like, holy shit, what the hell is this?
I mean,
oh yeah,
I lost my
mind.
That's what I said. I almost went to the bathroom during his at bat. One, because I was just like so pissed off because I just kind of felt like, oh well, Chapman's in the game. This is over.
Yeah.
We couldn't touch him the whole series, and it was like, okay, Rajay Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was unbelievable.
Yeah. I remember watching that and seeing like LeBron go crazy too. He was like sitting up there and then going nuts.
I thought we won it in the ninth too. Fucking Jason Kipnis.
Yeah.
Jason, he hit that one foul ball. I swear to God, I've watched like a million games from that stadium on TV. I swear to God, off the bat, I thought that hit the moon. I couldn't believe it when they showed the actual ball. I was like, "There's no way it went like 200 feet."
Then that damn rain delay, like I was like vibing the whole game. I was like, oh, this is like the best game I've ever seen. And then all of a sudden the rain delay, it's like, kidding me? Now it's
my heart fell out of my ass. It was the same exact thing as 1997. Johnny, you would probably remember this when they brought the champagne into the locker room. They did the same thing for Cleveland.
Wow.
Yeah. 97. Wow, that was a series too, man. Game 7. Fucking Edgar Renteria with that line drive over Charles Nagy's head. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget that.
Thank God I was not alive for that and 2016.
I actually, you know what's funny with that series? I was actually rooting for the Marlins. I put money on them. I won a nice little chunk on them that year because of being the wild card team.
Yeah.
But that's when the wild card, I mean, it was only 3 years in.
Yeah.
So it was like no one thought the 97 Marlins, what the hell? Like wild card, you know. They just,
I mean, the Indians weren't all that great that year either. They only won like 86 games, I think.
Yeah, but they had a squad, man.
They did. They were just one pitcher away.
Yeah.
They just never had that ace.
Yeah. They had Cologne that year, right? Yeah, they had Cologne by then.
Yes. I think he was like, the Indians were like trying to get Pedro Martinez, and that was the person they wouldn't give up. They wouldn't give up Cologne for Pedro Martinez.
Yeah. It was Cologne and Jarrett Wright, I think, was one of their pitchers.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was like dominant in the 97 postseason, started game 7, was like dominant then.
Yeah. And then
he just like had an average career.
Yeah, that dude just never, I don't know. You know, he reminded me of his the Braves guy, Steve Avery. I don't know if you remember him. He started. Well, he was in the late '80s, early '90s. So, but
I remember him.
He was like a lefty. He was there. In '91 when the Twins played the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
It was Glavine, Smoltz, and Avery. Maddox wasn't there yet. Maddox got there in '92.
Oh, okay.
So he got there the year after. And Avery was a lefty who was pretty good lefty. And he had a couple good years and got hurt and just never did anything after that. Like he was just kind of meh. That was it.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that. Jarrett Wright, I remember, like with the Indians, he was supposed to be like this phenom, and he pitched so well that year in the postseason and everything, and he was like, and then he just never really did anything after that. He kind of fell off. Mm-hmm. But they had such a good lineup. Oh my God,
they did.
Yeah,
those guys. And Kenny Lofton.
Kenny Lofton came back that year, didn't he? Well, didn't he leave? Didn't he leave in '90? Didn't they trade him in '96 and then brought him back in '97?
I'm trying to remember now.
I think he left after '95. I think they either traded him or he like signed somewhere else.
I think you're right. I know he did. I don't know if it was the year before. I don't know. I'm going to look him up right now, actually. I loved Lofton.
I loved him. When he came back in 2007, I loved him.
He did. And that was actually his last year.
That was. And he had like a really good year, too.
97. No, you know what? 97, he was on Atlanta.
Oh.
He was on Atlanta in
I remember him leaving after 95 and then coming back and like immediately after.
He did. 95, he was on the Indians in 95. That's the 95 team I'm thinking of. 97, he was with it. He left. Yeah, he was on Cleveland until 96. And then he went to Atlanta in 97 and then came back to Cleveland in 98.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Man,
he left for 1 year.
Yeah. Man, they
started
lost.
as an Astro.
Yeah.
Started his career as an Astro in 91.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that 95 team lost Kenny Lofton, Eddie Murray, what's his name? Albert Bell, and they still went back to the World Series.
Albert Bell is a beast.
My God. I wish I was around for him.
He hit the crap out of the ball, dude. I mean, he just swung so hard.
Yeah.
Dude.
A little bit of a dickhead, but
yeah,
I just wanted to watch like one season of him.
You ever watched that video of him forearming Fernando Vina?
Yes, that is the greatest.
Like, talk about a dude. Talk about a douche move.
Douchebag.
Just a forearm, like wrestling move. Like
fucking crushed his ass.
That's hysterical. Looking back on it now, it's like, wow.
I was like, what a dick.
Lofton led the league. Wow. Yeah.
What he did?
Led the league 5 years in a row in stolen bases.
Oh.
Yeah. He was awesome.
From 92 to 96, he stole 66, 70, 60, 54, 75.
Damn.
That's sick.
Yeah, 620 stolen bases.
Yeah, he is a beast.
Yeah, Lofton. He's easily one of my top fives of the biggest snubs out of the fucking Hall of Fame. I can't believe this guy in the Hall of Fame. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. The dude was an absolute. He was a great fielder. I think he's 600 something stolen bases. I mean, I think he's like 8th all time or something like that. Career 290 hitter. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. 6-time All-Star, four-time Gold Glover, 299 batting average, 2,400 hits. He has a career. Yeah, 622 stolen bases.
Yeah. Like I said, I think he's like 8th all time or something like that in stolen bases.
Yeah, I mean, he's ridiculous.
And yet, he's like one and done on the Hall of Fame ballot, yet Omar Vizquel is getting all this love.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, what the hell?
Omar Vizquel, I mean, seriously?
I like
Vizquel. He's a good player. He's a good player, but Kenny Lofton is... I can't believe he didn't make it.
Yeah, Lofton was a better player than Vizquel.
Easily.
Honestly, I don't think it's close.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I mean, Vizquel was a great fielder. Don't get me wrong. He was a great fielder. But you know what? When you play 24 years and have 2,700 hits, sorry.
I was about to say that.
That's not really...
Lofton played 17 years, but I mean, Omar Vizquel played for like 800 years.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Lofton was a way better hitter. Better base runner. Just as good of a fielder when you're comparing, I mean, as far as center field goes compared to shortstop. I mean, maybe Vizquel a little better, but Vizquel was no Ozzie Smith, though. No. You know, people... No. I mean, he was a great fielder. Don't get me wrong. But let's not put him in that category. Mm-hmm. I can't stand when people compare those two. It's like, dude, I
not even fucking close.
But no, sorry, Ozzie Smith is the best ever.
Easily.
All right, Lofton was 15th stolen. I mean, he is 15th stolen bases.
15th.
15th, really? I didn't think it was that low.
He's got it's obviously Ricky first, and then
yeah.
Hamilton, Cobb, Raines, Vince Coleman, Eddie Collins, Arlie Latham, Max Carey, Honus Wagner, Joe Morgan, Willie Wilson, Tom Brown, Burt Campaneris, and then lost him.
Oh, wow.
So
I think he was higher up. But even so, 600 stolen bases with a 300 career average. You know, Gold Glove, center field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
300 career average over like 18 years too is pretty impressive.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, I understand batting average isn't what it used to be.
Yeah, it's not like.
But you know what a lot of these sabermetric people, and you know, I love analytics and I love being able to break down plays and like stuff like that. But you know what a lot of these people don't realize, and it's something that I remember Andre Dawson when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame, what he said. And it's interesting because the game was different back then. People were taught to hit differently. Now, when you were a cleanup hitter, and Andre Dawson talked about this, when you were a guy that was expected to be the guy to drive in runs, you swung at pitches that maybe you wouldn't normally swing at because it was your to drive and run. You had a guy on second base. If you could swing at that outside pitch, drive it to right field, and get that run in, then you did it. Sometimes it didn't always work out. Sometimes you missed and you swung at a bad pitch.
Yeah.
But you're more inclined to swing at that pitch back then than you were now. So people approached hitting differently back then. So that's why, like, you know, batting average back then was a bigger deal because we weren't expected to take a walk. Yeah, it's some really good team in Cleveland.
Yeah. Oh my God, I wish they were so good. So I wish I was alive just to see that, just to feel that. My parents tell me all the time how awesome it was in Cleveland in the 90s for the Indians.
Yeah, well, they were good like every year in the 90s.
I wish I was alive when the Yankees were good.
Yeah. Speaking of good in the 90s, in like late 90s.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to be alive then, like when they had the dynasty, like
When did you start watching? But like, what year did you start? Like, is like your first memory of like knowing, being like a fan of the Yankees?
I want to say like 2006.
Yeah, that's pretty much when I started being like 2006, 2007 was like when I really got into sports.
Yeah, because I was born in '98, so
was that
first year. I mean, the Yankees' best year. So
I don't talk about an awesome year. Like, the first year to watch sports in 2007. Had the Cavs in the finals. The Indians were a game away from the World Series. Ohio State was in the National Championship game. And the Browns were like 10-6 and like one game away from the playoffs. I was like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. We're an awesome sports town.
Little did you know.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah.
I remember that in 2007 because the Indians were up 3-1 over the Red Sox, and I remember being up here, and everyone in the media was coming down on Manny Ramirez because after Game 4, they were saying, "Oh, Manny was like." They interviewed Manny Ramirez, and he was like, "Well, you know, if we lose, then you know we get to go to the off season, and that's it."
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone was like, "What the hell? You know, you got to fight, and blah blah blah." But
shut the hell up.
But it was Manny. It was Manny being Manny. I mean,
he was. I loved him.
2007 though, like I get like bad, like freaking at the AL. I think it was the ALDS. What was that when the Yankees played the Indians?
Yeah, with the Nats.
The freaking Nats. I get nightmares.
I was at that game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like I think that was like one of my first memories of watching a game. Like seeing, like I just watched all the
game too.
Storm them, and then freaking all of a sudden, Job is like freaking struggling, giving up, whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, just get him off the mound. All these Nats are swarming him. Like, why are you letting him stay there?
Oh,
I can't believe he's only 34 years old.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it either.
That's weird. I think were we talking about like how like it's so weird how some of these players seem like they're a lot older than they are.
Yeah, well, the one guy I follow, Brandon Warren, he's like a Twins writer, writes about the Twins and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, check mark and all that stuff. But he came up with those things, like he mentioned like a couple of players that were, and he started this thread and I commented on a couple. That's what I posted. Like I put the tweet in the chat, like, yeah, I couldn't believe Jabba Chamberlain's 34 either. I was like,
I couldn't believe that.
So he was like 21 in 2007 when all that happened.
Yeah, because that was like one of my first baseball memories was Jabba Chamberlain getting eaten alive by bugs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. I thought he was like.
I thought he was like 45.
I thought he was like 35 years old.
Well, one of the things I put in there was, Aaron Judge is 6 months older than Bryce Harper.
Mm.
And I think like Whit Merrifield's older than Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah.
That one creeped because I think Whit Merrifield has like arbitration still.
Yeah.
I may be wrong, but
he only came up like 3 years ago. He's a late bloomer.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have told me Madison Bumgarner was 40, and I'd believe you.
Yeah.
He's only 30.
That's insane.
Yeah.
There was another one. Was it Delman Young, I think?
Yeah.
I can't.
He's still
like only being.
Yeah,
he's like 37, I think. That was nuts to me.
That's crazy.
Grady Sizemore.
Oh,
That's the guy you remember. That dude.
He was
a stud.
He was going to be awesome.
He was a left-handed Mike Trout.
Oh my God,
the dude was good, and 3 good years, and all of a sudden injuries, and he just never. That was it.
And I'm like, I remember every time he would come back from an injury, like it was like must see to watch him play too.
Oh, he was incredible.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah, yep. It's such a shame. And he's like I said, he's like 37.
Yeah, he was beloved here too.
Like he just couldn't play anymore.
He was like on the level of LeBron James for love in the city at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was a stud, man. That dude was a stud.
He also had like a section of the stadium called Grady's Ladies because, like, I'm not gonna lie, he's a pretty attractive man.
You want to talk about what ifs? Is Josh Hamilton? That's another one too.
Oh,
he's still only 38.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy was awesome too.
First pick overall by the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to Cincinnati and kept on smoking crack. And that was it for him for a long time. And he came back with Texas and tore it up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He signed a big deal with the Angels.
Yep. And that was it.
Everyone goes to die.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
I'm a little pissed that Mike Trout's still there.
Yeah, I hope they end up winning at least one.
Just go to the playoffs, god damn it.
Yeah.
Really?
Get pitching for God's.
I mean, seriously. I mean, I get adding Rendon because he's arguably one of the best third basemen in the game, but who's pitching?
Well,
just have Mike Trout pitch. You can probably do it.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
you can do
anything.
He can hit. He can do top golf too. So, I mean,
I think they make the playoffs this year.
I had them close. It was like one of those teams. Like if they make it, like I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, the Angels are in the playoffs.
Yeah, I still think they might just barely miss it. I think the A's win that division, but
I agree.
Saying that the Astros are going to miss it, I think the Astros still might squeak in as a wild card.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to put them out like all the way.
Yeah, no, they're still incredible, but I still got They're like the Cubs. I mean, they got all the young, not young actually. They got all the talent, but
I think
I can see them missing the playoffs this year.
The Astros are behind this whole virus shit.
That's what I said. They released this virus so they don't have to deal with this.
Yeah. That's what that one girl Emily posted on Twitter. Posted that a while ago about that they didn't want to have to deal with all the banging in all the stadiums, so they put the corona. Dude, the thing blew up. The tweet we got like 12,000 likes or something like that. Like crazy.
I think once the season does start, everybody's still gonna be off. There's still gonna be a lot of heat. Like there's no way.
Hopefully they allow fans.
Yeah, I feel like they're probably gonna start the season without fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's absolutely terrible.
Well, they did that a few years ago. You remember Baltimore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The riots and stuff.
The riots, yeah. That was awesome though. I mean, it was awesome for like one game and for one day. Just hearing like the sound of an empty baseball stadium, that was cool.
It was funny how the announcers were like talking. They were like announcing like it was a golf.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Like whispering.
Yeah. Well, the players were saying they could hear them. They could hear the announcers.
Yeah. That's funny.
That's crazy. I just don't think the Astros can handle it. I just think they're going to fall apart.
I hope so.
And not only that, too, even with talent-wise, all right, I get it. George Springer, Correa, Altuve, Bregman. I understand. Alvarez, Gurriel. Like, I get it. They have a good lineup. I understand.
Yeah.
Their pitching. I mean, yes, this gives Verlander a chance to recover for whenever we come back. But Greinke, and then what? Boris Whitley? Is he number 3?
That's true.
Josh James? Jose Urquidy? Other than Osuna in the bullpen? Is McCullers coming back this year? Like, I don't know. I honestly think their pitching staff's a question. Looking at talent-wise, strictly talent-wise. I honestly think their pitching staff's a question. Mm-hmm. And Tuve's a year older. Correa has proven he can't stay healthy. Jordan Alvarez, is he the real deal or does he have a sophomore slump?
Yeah.
Gurriel, you got to remember, Gurriel is
38.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's not a young spring chicken, so I don't know, man. I honestly, the A's take that division because I think they're a better team. And I really think the Angels can do it if their pitching staff stays up. If Ohtani could pitch once a week, all right, and Bundy and Heaney could be solid number 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bundy's going to be a lot better with the defense behind him and in a better pitcher's park. He's a former first-round pick. He's still only 27 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I think he can really, really make the transition. And if Heaney could stay healthy, Heaney's proven he's shown glimpses. He's another one who's a former first-round pick.
Yeah.
And he's only 28. Like these guys aren't old.
Mm-hmm.
With Julio Teheran there, who's an innings eater, dude's thrown like 190 innings the past like 7 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
They have one of the best team defenses. I mean, especially the left side of the infield with Rendon and Simmons there. Just have everybody pound the ball into the ground because that'll all be eaten up. I think the Angels are just as good of a team as Houston.
Yeah, I want them to miss the playoffs as much as anybody, but actually part of me wants them just to make the playoffs just so they can face the Yankees, and then the Yankees get revenge on them. Garrett Cole could strike out 27 batters in a row.
Yeah. As much as I hate the Yankees, I would love if they did that.
Yeah.
All right. You guys take care of the Astros, and we'll take care of the Rays. Or the A's.
Yeah.
Or whoever.
Actually,
I want the Yankees to lose in the first round because I don't want to face them again.
Well, solve that. Just don't make the playoffs.
Yeah. Just regret.
I'll tell you what. We'll take first seed. The Twins will take first seed. We'll take care of the wild card team. You guys can lose to the A's, and then we'll play the A's for the ALCS. How about that?
I actually did pick the Twins to win the division against my own chagrin.
Yeah, I don't think it's really that close, to be honest with you. I mean, I know the Indians have a good team, and you guys won, 90? Did you win last year? Yeah.
93.
Yeah.
And I think I gave the Indians 92 wins.
Yeah, I could see them winning.
I was a little optimistic just because of the feeling of the season, but
I feel like they're one of those teams that can have, win 90 games, but then they can also lose they can also win just 75.
I see their ceiling being around 81, or their floor, around 81.
Mm-hmm.
I had the Indians pegged for the high 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I could see
the Twins 97 wins.
Yeah, I think when I did the preview, I think it gave the Twins 100 even. Because I think honestly, just as good as last year, if not better. But
yeah,
I also see some regression from last year.
Yeah, it's hard to do what they did last year.
Yeah, but signing Donaldson is a big thing.
Yeah,
and the pitching depth, I think the starting rotation depth is better this year.
I agree. They have an underrated pitching staff, I think.
Yeah, I think Barrios is going to be good. Odorizzi's coming back on the 1-year deal. He's going to want to pitch his ass off because he's 30 years old. He's going to want that contract.
Yeah.
They have to accept the qualifying offer this year. And he had a good year last year. We get Pineda back. Now, this is the thing, too. We were supposed to get Pineda back May 10th. What happens with the suspension? I guess we're going to have to wait for him anyway. Rich Hill was supposed to come back in June. So if we don't start games until we'll get him back. We traded for Maeda. Homer Bailey, Jaleese Chassin. That's some depth, at least.
Yeah.
And Taylor Rogers is an underrated closer. Dude had a great year last year. He's one of the rare lefty closers. Aside from Chapman, Brad Hand.
Yeah.
There's not many, you don't see many lefty closers in the league. Taylor Rogers really had a good year last year. So, all things considered, even with regression from, say, Kepler or Polanco or, we trade Rosario, Buxton playing 70 games again, whatever. I think, I still think the Twins can definitely win 95 to 100.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing with the Indians is they relied so much on Carlos Santana last year, and I love Carlos Santana. He's one of my favorite players ever. I can't imagine he does what he did last year.
I think he will.
He could. He's always been very good at the plate, but yeah, that was just something else. What he did last year, that was stunning to me.
Yeah, and honestly, I called it last year. And I was on a pod with Fantasy Gospel. I don't know if you guys follow them. With Mikey Cara over there. And I called it last year in the season. I said Santana's going to have a career year. I said he was upset going to Philly. And he went to
He definitely was.
Yeah.
And now he's going back.
To go there.
I said last year, he's going back to Cleveland, back to his home, back to where he started. I was like, you're going to see a career year from him.
Yeah.
Because these are the things that analytics don't, they don't look at. Yeah. But for the fact that it was a frustrating season for the Phillies last year, and that was Santana's year last year, only year there. But I just saw. I love Santana. He's about consistent as they come, man. He did have a really good year last year, but I still see him as 250, 260 with the walks and strikeouts about even. 30 home runs. He's going to do his thing.
Yeah. He's always been very reliable for us. Always.
Yeah.
Always been the heart and soul of this team. And like you said, he did not want to go to Philly, I don't think. He didn't want to leave Cleveland, I should say.
No. Not at all.
Like, he couldn't screw over the market like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he was, yeah. I like Santana.
I love it.
That's the thing that kills me about this is that the Indians are in my division. You know, I have to kind of hate them, but I can't. Yeah. I can't hate. I love Tito. I love Carlos Santana. I love Lindor. Like, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way sometimes with the Twins. Like, it's gonna be the same. Like, I love Josh Donaldson. I've always loved him. I love Byron Buxton. Like, it's like the same thing. Like, I know I'm supposed to hate them, but like, it's not like I'm like rooting for them to lose unless they play us, or unless like we need them to lose.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Like when they were in the playoffs, like I wasn't cheering for the Yankees because they're playing a division rival.
Right. Well, everyone hates the Yankees.
Yeah, fuck them.
Well, the Yankees are almost like, well, not now anymore. I think Houston's more like this, but the Yankees were like the Patriots.
Yeah.
Either you love them or you hate them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one of those things. It's like a national thing.
Yeah.
You know. So it's the evil empire. You know.
Yeah. They'll just never go away.
No, it won't. No, the reputation will always be there.
Yep.
You know. And even though the Red Sox won their World Series in the past, you know, years and stuff like that, it doesn't matter. The Yankees are still looked at as that, you know, the evil empire.
Yep, always.
Everyone is not a Yankees fan.
Always.
And let me tell you, I respect a lot what the Yankees have done. I mean, it's hard. They're 20 consecutive winning seasons.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, they never rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they bring up a lot of the young players and stuff like that. And I remember, like I said, I remember when they stunk. I remember when they were horrible in the 80s. You know, poor Don Mattingly and Dave Winfield stuck there. The only two guys on the team that were worth anything. You know. Remember they had Bobby Meach playing second base. Like they were a bad team.
Yeah.
You know, everyone, and you know, it's funny. They went through that period from 83 to 93. Like that was 10, 11 years. They went through that period of, they signed a lot of free agents. They overpaid for a lot of people, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a period of time where it didn't work out. You know, unfortunately, it was pretty much Mattingly's career, but you know, they just weren't a good team back then. But then, you know, when they drafted guys, you know, Bernie Williams came up, Mariano Rivera came into his own, and you know, Jeter, Pettit, and then they started adding pieces that worked out, like Paul O'Neill, like Tino Martinez. The guys like that, they started signing who actually worked out to fit in. Well, that's when the dynasty started.
Yeah, they've never been bad in my lifetime, which pisses me off. I mean, they had that like stretch where they like missed the playoffs for a couple of years, like Jeter's final years, but like they've never been bad.
No.
Yeah, like even when we like rebuilt in 2016, I think it was like next year they were back.
Yeah, they're back in the playoffs.
Well, that's the whole thing. You know, it's not so much the money you spend sometimes. It's the money you can afford to lose. Mm-hmm. Which is, you look at the Yankees, you know, and you look at 2015-16, you know, they can afford to pay A-Rod and Ellsbury and guys like that who aren't producing. They can afford to waste the $40-50 million. Mm-hmm. You know, a team like the Twins or a team like the Indians, just talking about our two teams, but there are multiple teams in the league, can't afford to withstand that kind of signing. That's what hurt the Twins a lot, because the Twins turned around and gave Joe Mauer that big deal. And that hurt them for a long time because they can't afford to have a player be a slightly above average player, paying him $23 million.
Yeah.
You know, the Yankees can withstand paying Jacoby Ellsbury the past 2 years $23 million. Doesn't matter because they can afford the $200 million. Whereas the Twins and Indians can't afford to make that mistake. You know what I mean? That's the big difference. It's not who you can sign; it's who you can sign and afford for them not to be good.
I get that.
You know what I mean? Because you can't make up. And I'm not taking anything away from the Yankees. Don't get me wrong. Look, Cashman's done a great job. All his years and everything like that. And it's shown, like I said, back in the day when the Yankees were able to spend all the money they wanted, and George Steinbrenner was still around in the 80s and 90s, like they could spend all the money they wanted, and he would. He was the Jerry Jones of baseball back then. Like, you spend whatever. I don't care. You know. But it didn't always work out. And it was a stretch of time back then where it didn't work out. Well, it has worked out these past 20 years because Cashman's been pretty smart about where he spends his money.
Yep.
You know, even in free agency, you look at the Yankees last year. I mean, signing DJ LeMahieu was the steal of the offseason.
Oh my God.
So, you know, it couldn't have gone any better. Especially with all the injuries he had. Trading for Luke Voigt, getting Luke Voigt there. I mean, just it seems like anyone they plug in is just, fits in. So
I've been fully prepared since like the end of 2017 to just see Francisco Lindor in a Yankees jersey one of these days. I've just been fully prepared for it for a year. I'm just getting prepared for it now because I have that awful feeling that it's going to happen.
No, you know what? I think he's gonna sign with some strange team.
Yeah.
I have a feeling he's gonna go like somewhere. I just don't know. I don't know if it's the Marlins, but just some. I mean, I don't know. I just have a feeling he's gonna go somewhere strange. Maybe he goes to the Angels when Simmons' contract's up.
Ooh.
Goes play with Trout and Rendon.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
That
would be awesome.
Or maybe goes to the A's. Simeon's contract's up. Goes to play with Chapman.
Right.
Well, I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean, the Angels will spend money, so you know that.
Yeah.
So,
not the A's.
I don't forget. In a couple of years, Pujols is done. There's $25 million off the books.
Right.
I don't know, man. I just don't know if Lindor's going to go to the Yankees. I just don't know.
I was also prepared for Bryce Harper or like Mike Trout to be a Yankee too. So. Or Machado.
That surprised everybody. I mean, honestly, people were looking at those guys to, go sign with the Yankees, especially like Bryce Harper. We were all talking about Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
Mickey Mantle versus, and all this stuff. Like,
I think the thing was because they didn't need him, so that's why I didn't like. Obviously, this offseason they needed an ace, so they just went and got Cole. So I mean, they don't do it unless they have to, really.
Yeah.
Well, Cole made a lot of sense too because they originally tried to draft him.
Yeah.
And he went back. They tried to draft him out of high school, and he went to college. So the Yankees have always wanted him.
Yeah. Him and Bauer had to be. I mean, I don't watch a lot of college baseball, but him and Bauer as a 1-2 punch for that team must have been awesome.
Oh my God, where'd they go? UCLA.
UCLA.
Yeah.
And then they went. Cole went number 1, and Bauer went number 3.
Yeah.
Overall.
Diamondbacks took Bauer.
Yeah.
Just think about that. Yeah. Diamondbacks
Yeah.
drafted Bauer and they drafted Scherzer.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep.
Yeah, I wrote that one article last year about like it was like the what if Diamondbacks like if they kept all these guys, like they had a bunch of other guys that were turned out to be good, like I don't think who it was.
They've had some.
Somebody on the break they had at one point. I forget who it is.
They scout pitchers pretty well, actually. Diamondbacks. Yeah. They really do. They just never put it all together. That was my bold prediction. I forget who it was. One of the fantasy baseball guys. Could have been Casey Bubba or like one of those guys put like what a bold prediction for this year. And one of mine was Robbie Ray strikes out 300 this year.
Hmm.
I forget what my other one was. 2 of them. Ray strikes out 300. I forget what the other one was. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, Diamondbacks have had success with some of the pitchers. Because didn't they draft who else? There is another pitcher they had drafted. It turned out really good. Or at least pretty good. Aside from Robbie Ray. But I'm just thinking, Did they draft Ian Kennedy?
I don't think so.
Back in the day?
I think he was drafted by the Yankees. You're not.
I don't know why this is annoying me because it's like something I did actually just see.
Wade Miley.
Yeah, Wade Miley. Oh yeah, Ian Kennedy was drafted by the Yankees first round.
Yeah, that's what
UCLA.
Oh,
I'm sorry, USC.
Oh.
USC.
Let's see. I'm gonna go back to my article to see if they had anybody else in there. I have to go back a long way though.
Archie Bradley. Yeah, he's not much of anything, but just looking.
Brandon Webb. He's another one. Could have been something.
Brandon Webb. Yeah.
Brandon Webb in 2008. 22-7. With a 3.3 ERA. Through 226 innings that year. He threw 4 innings the following year and never pitched again.
Damn.
200 innings, 5 years in a row. That was it. 3.27 career ERA.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember him. He was good. He's a good pitcher. I mean, his ERAs through his career from 2003 to 2008. 2.84, 3.59, 3.54, 3.10, 3.01, 3.3. Led the league in wins twice. In 2006 to 2008. 16 wins, 18 wins, 22 wins. And then after 2008, he pitched 4 in 2009. And that was the end of his career. Great. $30 years old. He was. Now he's 40.
Hmm.
It was nuts, man.
Oh.
So guys just fall off. Like, just that's it.
Talking about Shelby Miller. Is that another one?
Shelby? Yeah. He was the Braves, though. I thought he was drafted by the Braves originally.
Well, he was.
I think he was traded there.
Traded to the Diamondbacks for the. He was the Inciarte and Swanson trade.
Dansby Swanson.
Yeah. Yep.
Each.
Oh yeah, the Ian Kennedy trade, like when they got Ian Kennedy, it was actually in the Max Scherzer trade.
Huh.
Okay. There you go.
It was a 3-team trade with the Yankees and Tigers, and it was they got Kennedy and Edwin Jackson.
Edwin Jackson played for like every.
They flipped Jackson to get Daniel Hudson.
Oh.
Yeah. He had in 2010. Jackson had a 5.16 ERA.
Jeez. Yeah, there's some bad trade. I'd like to do. Yeah, that's what I want to do some articles on too. Like draft picks, like bad trade, like trades that didn't work out. Because I'll never forget. I always remember the '87 Tigers. They traded a 19-year-old kid they drafted out of Michigan State for Doyle Alexander. Now, Doyle Alexander was a good pitcher at that time.
Mm-hmm.
They traded him to the Braves for Doyle Alexander. Alexander wound up going like 8-1 the rest of the season for the Tigers. So it's not like it didn't hurt. It didn't help.
Yeah.
No.
But they wound up losing to the Twins in the playoffs. But the kid they traded was John Smoltz.
Oh.
So, I mean, it's like, you look back and God damn, But it's like trade like that. Like, you trade this kid and all of a sudden he becomes like a Hall of Famer or something. I'd love to look back on like top 10 trades that like just happened to work out that way,
Yeah.
I mean, because I remember I was the Red Sox traded with Houston. They traded Jeff Bagwell for Larry Anderson.
Oh man.
Bagwell was a minor leaguer, and he hit like 5 home runs that year. The dude wasn't like a power hitter or anything, and he traded him for Larry Anderson that year. Like, it was what? You look back on it now, of course, but back then it was like, it was a minor league first baseman, whatever. Stuff like that. Like, it's pretty interesting when you look back on it and be like, wow, these guys are all fucking Hall of Famers. And what could have been if they never traded them. Do you remember Bagwell and Fenway Park all these years?
Yeah.
You remember Smoltz on the Tigers? Like, what would have happened? Like,
Yeah.
It would be kind of interesting to look into like some of these deals, like you said, Alex, the what ifs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we talked about doing like a what if series before.
Yeah.
You could do some of that, especially now with all the time we have.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time to get kind of like, I think, especially with baseball. I mean, I know fantasy baseball still. I want to finish the previews. We don't have that many more to go.
Yeah.
But we like to wrap them up. But we can put them out again too, like, depending on when baseball starts. But I think just keeping the baseball content going, I think will be important. Like, even if either one of you guys want to look back on like one of the teams, like Dan, if you wanted to do like something about the '95 Indians or something like that, you look back, talk about the or whatever. Same thing with you, Alex, if you want to look back on the Yankees dynasty, like 98 to 2000 or whatever, like stuff like that, just to look back on it. It's kind of cool for us to research and look back on the games and like, the players that were there. And also too, I think it's, just to keep the baseball content going. I don't know. It's Hall of Fame stuff. That Hall of Fame stuff gets me. But
it's so aggravating.
It is aggravating. It is. Because you don't know what these guys look at. It's like some of these ballots that come out. It's like, what the hell?
I know.
Like, what the hell are you looking at? They get some of these people that just like vote for. I don't even know. Like, it just doesn't make sense. A lot of these votes just don't. A lot of these ballots don't make sense.
No.
Like I'd love to say, I want to see like who now that Jeter's off the ballot, and the next couple of ballots are kind of weak actually. Like this year coming up is really weak. So I'm interested to see like who gets like more of these votes. This year is really weak.
Anybody new? Like
it's
somebody new, but
Hudson, Mark Burley. I mean, it's just not a lot.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of guys. I think David Ortiz is up this year.
He's on it this year.
That would, garner some votes. But other than that, I don't think there's anyone really big.
No.
But even at that, look at someone like Mark Burley. How is he that much worse than Andy Pettitte? They're pretty comparable. Look at this. How are they that far apart? They're pretty similar, actually. If you look at their career stats, they're pretty similar. But Andy Pettitte will get a lot more love.
Yeah.
Even though Mark Burley has a perfect game and he has a World Series ring.
I think it's 2.
Burley have 2? Does he?
He either has a perfect game and a no-hitter or 2 perfect games. I have to look it up.
Well, he's one. No one's ever had 2 perfect games, so I don't know he's got 1.
He might have a no-hitter then.
And he's got the ring. I know.
Yeah.
He
has a perfect game and a no-hitter.
Yeah. But he won't get his
Glover.
Pettitte. And Andy Pettitte, Mark Burley, Mike Messina. Like, I mean, how far apart are these guys? This is what I'm saying. And then you look at guys like Kevin Brown, Kevin Appier, Brett Saberhagen, David Cohn. Like, how far apart are these guys really? Even CC Sabathia, people are talking about. Granted, CC had the 3,000 strikeouts, so that's going to have a lot of weight. But
yeah,
I'm just saying, like, I don't know. Where do you think the line is as far as voting someone in? Personally, Pettitte's in. I don't think Burley is either. I don't think Hudson is. I don't, those guys. Like, I don't think they are.
Mm-hmm.
But people will also point to Jack Morris, and I don't think Jack Morris should have been a Hall of Famer, but he is.
Yeah.
But that was the Veterans Committee, so you leave it at that. But I don't know. Yeah. Trust me, if you look at Mark Burley, his stats for his career, and you look at Andy Pettitte, very similar.
I'm looking at Andy Pettitte right now. I'm like, really? That's it?
Yeah.
I mean, Pettitte pitched longer, so obviously his stats are going to be better. But Burley has more All-Star games, has more Gold Gloves. Obviously, the perfect game. Obviously, the main difference is 5 World Series, but I mean that's not really to Mark Burley's fault.
Right. Well, yeah, that shouldn't be held against him. Well, look at the stats, though.
Yeah, I mean he was.
They're similar.
Independent only being a 3-time All-Star is kind of weird.
And then go look at stats. Tell me why he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Tell me why a lot of people aren't in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin Brown is one of the guys that honestly really snubbed.
Yeah.
3.28 career ERA, 200 wins.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous.
I mean, his years in Florida.
They're ridiculous.
0.89 ERA in 1996. I mean, the heart of the steroid era. Kevin Brown he's one of the biggest. Him, like I said, him along with Lofton and Edmonds, to me, are probably the biggest snubs. Then you other guys like David Cohn, another guy that could be in the Hall of Fame. Who's to say like David Cohn, Kevin Brown? How are these guys worse than Mike Mussina?
Yeah. I can go on and on with this fucking baseball Hall of Fame shit.
Yeah, this is one of my big things, man. I love the Baseball Hall of Fame. I love the votes. I love all this stuff that they do. I run it all because I believe in a bigger hall.
Yeah,
I think these guys should be in, and I think this story should be told. And then when they let some of these guys in and they don't let other guys in, especially when it's a disparity of you vote these guys in like first, second ballot, and then these other guys just fall off because they don't even get 5%. That bothers the shit out of me. At least give the guy a chance to like gain some traction. That's what annoys me about guys like Lofton and Edmonds and stuff like that. Like they just like fell off. Like no one even.
Yeah.
Annoys the shit out of me. But
Thank you for listening to another episode of Too Much Podtar. As you know, we didn't really have much to talk about as far as new stuff, but we did come up with stuff to talk about. Still stuff that we can talk about on the show, where we'll come up with new things, like talk about going back in time, talking about other years in history, like we did in this episode. Talk about some players, and talk about Hall of Fame voting, like we did in this episode too. Like some of that stuff that we can talk about is a really wide range of stuff. It doesn't stop with just new stuff. We can go back and look at other years and anything else, really. Just a lot of stuff we can create out of this, and not going to be stopped by the coronavirus. It's not going to stop us from doing what we love. So we're going to continue writing. Follow us on The Scorecrow on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at The Scorecrow. Follow myself at Alex Keeler on Twitter, and follow Johnny at jball0202, and follow Dan at Corrigan _tweets, and that's
That's CORRIGAN_tweets. So yeah, follow all of us there, and we should tweet out stuff about a lot of stuff that's going on and talking about it. I've been posting stuff about baseball history lately, some day in history, which we're gonna probably get to start with this podcast as well, doing this day in baseball history. So having episodes a lot of days where we talk about the stuff that happened in history in other years. So that'll be definitely something to keep an eye out for. Keep listening to our episodes. We have almost all of our team preview episodes that we did as well. So yeah, just a reminder, you can never have too much pod tour.